Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Plan the Day Pro Planning Tips. My name is Christina Goebel, and I'm the co-founder and president of PlanTheDay.com. And today we have Tara Steele, Tara Nicole Weddings and Events. Thanks so much for coming on, Tara.
Hi, thank you for having me, Christina.
You're welcome. So tell us a little bit more about what you all do. We know you're a wedding planner, but tell us more. I know you have an awesome team, so.
Yeah, so I am a luxury wedding planner here in Indianapolis. We actually specialize in Indian weddings, and I have a team of 4 girls who work underneath me who are absolutely fabulous. They specialize in day of coordination, and then I specialize in the full service design aspects of planning.
Awesome. I love it. And she just recently rebranded, everyone. So check out her website. It is so beautiful. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm still making tweaks and changes, so it'll change little by little every day.
Well, congrats, though, because I know how that is. So.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, I know you have a lot of really great stuff for us today, so I'm super excited to just jump right into it. So yeah, let's just get started and tell us, I think a lot of the big things that brides probably want to know is really the big difference between a wedding planner and what you provide versus a venue coordinator and what they provide.
Right. So first and foremost, the venue coordinator is named the venue coordinator for that reason exactly. They are working for the venue. Their sole purpose is to coordinate everything in the best interest for the venue. My wedding venue coordinators are absolutely amazing. So I couldn't do what I do without them and their team. But your wedding planner or coordinator or day of coordinator, whichever you decide to go with, is going to be working for you, your family, your wishes, and everything that you are desiring on your wedding day. And that's not to say that your venue coordinator is not, but their best interest is everything with the food, the setup, the tear down, anything in relation to the venue. So if you're having, let's say, an offsite ceremony, they're not going to be able to help coordinate any of that or the logistics of any of that. And so that's where a wedding planner can come into play and be a huge help for you logistically with getting everybody from the ceremony to the reception, or even just coordinating who's walking who down the aisle. Yeah, so like anything like that, because obviously your venue coordinator is going to still be at the venue. They're not going to be at the ceremony.
Right. Can you talk about some of the, I don't think tasks is the right word, but just some of the services that you provide and the way that you help your clients from a planning standpoint, before the wedding day, so the difference between that, what you can do for them. And I guess I don't know where the venue coordinator comes in at that point, but I think it's important for people to know everything that you can really help with the planning of it. So.
Right. Yeah, so we actually can come in at any point. So we can come in before, like right when you get started, which is obviously ideal because then we can help you put together everything from the very beginning in relation to your overall vision and your dreams and your design. Sometimes we come in after everybody has had their venue or their photographer or some of the big vendors in play, which is still great because we still need to get them their decor vendors, their cake, invitations, everything in relation to all those pretty details that everybody sees all over Pinterest, Style Me Pretty. Those things don't just happen or coordinate cohesively on their own. Those are things that are very meticulously thought through, and they take some time and planning and detail. So we can come in at that point as well and help coordinate all those designs and take all of those Pinterest pins, which I love and hate.
Right.
I mean, I do. I love it because it's great because some brides can't articulate what it is that they want to see, and so it's great in that aspect. But then it's also can be very dangerous when you start to get over 100 pins and you're like, I don't even remember where I started. So
Right.
it can be a little bit challenging, and that's where I have to, reel it back in. But a wedding planner can really give you that peace of mind, and it's the sense that you have an expert helping you at every turn. So whenever you decide to hire a planner, they can negotiate contracts to a certain extent, whether it's extra time or an extra service, or they just really know the industry very well. They've taken a lot of time and energy into networking with great people. And, when you say, I want this style of photography, they automatically have or should have 3 to 5 names instantly to say, hey, go look at this website, go look at their work, see what you think.
That's huge. So then it takes away from brides having to research and look for their right person, because you know their budget, you know what they're looking for, and you can narrow that down for them. So, and I want to give a shout out to some brides that we have tuning in right now. So we have Adrian that has joined us, and I think we have a few other people. So just want to give you all a shout out. Thanks so much for joining, and don't hesitate to ask questions. So, hi, yay. I love it. I'm seeing people say hi. I know. I'm like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
So feel free to join in, ask questions. That's what Tara's here for, to help out in any way that she can. So.
Yeah. So we just talked about, for those of you just tuning in, we just talked about how great it is for venue coordinators and wedding planners working together, but that if you have your offsite ceremony, obviously your venue coordinator can't be there, and that's a great opportunity for your wedding planner to help coordinate everything in that aspect. And then the other thing as well is third-party vendors. So obviously your ceremony could be there or offsite. It just depends on the venue. But they also, things like cake, DJ, photographer, transportation, hair and makeup, any decor rentals that you have to bring all that stuff in. Usually tables, chairs, food, bar, all that stuff goes through your venue, and they can always have great recommendations of people who have worked in their venue before, which I think is something every bride should take seriously, because they've had really great experiences to get onto that vendor referral list.
Right.
However, they're not going with you to those meetings. So, for instance, I had a cake, the wrong cake, delivered to the reception, and the bride happened to look out the side of her eye and was like, as they were delivering the cake, and said, hey, that's not my cake. And I looked over and I said, no, that's not your cake. Because I was there to know what that cake should look like. And your venue coordinator is not going to know that. So because they're not at that final meeting with you, they very rarely would ever see the sketch that the cake artist would make. So because it's a third party vendor. Same thing with your DJ, your photographer. So if you specifically told the photographer that you want all these family pictures and that they're supposed to happen in these 20 minutes, the venue coordinator might have that on their timeline, but they're also worried about like what's going on in the kitchen and making sure
the food comes out and stuff, right?
So they're not looking over the photographer's shoulder saying, hey, you have 20 minutes to get these pictures, and going around rallying up your family members to make sure that they're on deck for pictures.
Right. That's a big
one. Hair and makeup is huge. So hair and makeup is how you start the day, and your venue coordinator is 99.9% never involved in your hair and makeup or your hair and makeup schedule or anything in regards to hair and makeup, unless it's actually done at the venue. But then in that case, they still are not responsible for the timeline. And hair and makeup is the one thing that starts your day that can get you off schedule. So it's super crucial to have a very good timeline for hair and makeup that has an extra little cushion in it, because it always takes somebody longer to curl their hair for people like me with really long hair, or somebody didn't come with their hair washed, or something happened and hair and makeup goes behind schedule, and it just throws off the entire timeline for the day. And so your venue coordinator, again, really is not involved in the hair and makeup process. And then who makes the decision then at that point to find more time. It's usually you and your photographer. You're having to have a conversation with your photographer on how you're going to make up time and what photos you're going to have to cut and so on and so forth. And these are all decisions that you're going to have to make.
So can you talk a little bit about the timeline? Because if I remember correctly, my planner did this, but like she created the timeline for me. And I thought that was phenomenal because that saved me a ton of time.
Oh, that's such a great point. So no matter what planner you get, whether it's full service, partial, day of coordinator, the great part about having a planner is that they are going to give you an all-inclusive timeline. So starting with hair and makeup all the way through till tear down. And the great thing about a venue coordinator is that they're going to give you all of the details that they need for the reception at the venue. So they're going to tell you or tell the planner, how long do they need to serve salads? How long do they need for cake cutting? How long do they need for, based on the staff that they have. So your planner will coordinate with the venue to ensure that the venue has the exact same timeline that you have, that your photographer has, that your DJ has, that your hair and makeup people have. And that way everybody's on the same page.
Right. So we just had a question come in. Adrian said, I know, I'm excited.
Okay.
So Adrian said, how important is it to have a wedding planner or coordinator? Should that be something you put in your budget first?
Well, I mean, I'm a little biased, so I say yes. But I think it all depends on really what's important to you guys, you and your fiance. If it's important for you and your fiance to really relax and enjoy the day, or if you know that you don't want to have mom worried about anything, I say it's really important to have at least a day of coordinator. So if you're
Can you talk about the pricing on that? I know we're going to talk about pricing later on, a few months from now. You're going to come back on the show. But right now, I think a lot of brides are kind of in that day coordinator stage, with their weddings coming up. So can you talk a little bit more about day of coordinator specifically, and then maybe some price ranges?
Yeah. So just to answer her question really quick, if you are the bride,
sorry about that.
No, you're good. If you are the bride who is really organized and has some extra time that can plan their wedding, absolutely go for it, because it's something fun to do. If you enjoy things, I say go for it, and you should at least get a day of coordinator, because even myself, I did not get a day of coordinator because I thought I could do it. I thought I could do everything because I'm a planner. And it poured down rain on my wedding day. I cannot control Mother Nature. So I had to make some really tough decisions on my wedding day because I didn't plan for it to pour down rain. I didn't have a plan B. I got married a long time ago, so
or that extra help too. Like if you had someone there, kind of. At
that point, I had to make the decision. It was supposed to be an outdoor wedding. We had to move things inside. Who was going to move those things? And the venue helped tremendously. So I did have a really great venue coordinator that all of my ceremony and reception was at the same place, so that helped. Which was my first point in two different places. But if you're the bride who is super, super busy, has little time, who really wants to cherish the engagement with your fiance, or, work just takes over and you're not going to have that extra time to plan, I would seriously consider hiring a wedding planner to save you the time and energy that it's going to take you to research vendors, or if you get a vendor and you're not happy with the decision, they just know the network of vendors and the community so well that they can save you so much time, energy, money. They just make it, and they make it fun. They make it so that you're not stressed during your planning process. So that would be my suggestion. If you should get a planner in the beginning, if it should be part of your budget. I always think everybody deserves to have a wedding planner, even if it's a day of coordinator. I think that's absolutely wonderful.
A lot of good points.
Yeah, so your question was pricing for day of coordination?
Yeah, just
right?
kind of briefly touch on that because we're way over on time, but this is all really, really good stuff. So,
Oh,
and
good.
Adrienne just said thank you. So she just said thanks. So thank you,
Um,
Adrienne.
a lot. So,
It's
um,
okay. I know, I do
the,
too. So,
I know, right? Day of coordinator in Indiana, in Indianapolis. A good day of coordinator with experience is going to start around $1,500. And that's a day of coordinator that should be with you all day. They'll help with setup, tear down. They'll do your final walkthrough. They'll do your timeline. They'll coordinate with all of your vendors. They'll be the point of contact for your wedding day, and they should be there for rehearsal to run, through the ceremony, the rehearsal. Once you start asking for like wedding weekend, like a brunch or a rehearsal dinner or things like that, the price could go up. If you see a price that's less than $1,500, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but that's where I would ask the questions: does this planner do it full time? How many weddings have they done? How many years have they been in business? Is this a hobby, or is it an actual business that they run? So, because some people, they're just trying to get started. Everybody has to start somewhere, and they don't have the experience. It doesn't mean that they're not good, but they just don't have the experience or the portfolio, and so they just price themselves a little bit less, maybe 500 to 750. And if you want to take the chance on that, and if you know them and you want to take the chance on it, or if you meet with them and you absolutely fall in love with them and their personality, again, everybody starts somewhere. But it's just a matter of what the experience is, how do they react under pressure, different things like that. Like once you've started to get a couple weddings under your belt, the price should definitely go up. And so if you're starting to see those really low numbers for a day of coordinator, I would just ask a lot of questions.
And those are really great questions to ask. So
yeah,
very great questions to ask, and it's good to know that. So and like you said earlier, I love that earlier we were talking, you're like, you know what, I started somewhere too, and that bride took a chance on me, and I love that you said that. I think that's pretty neat.
It's not always a bad thing. It's just you have to feel confident in that decision. This is one of the most important days of your life. And if you feel that this particular planner can really do a great job, and you've asked a ton of questions and she's answered all those questions and she's great under pressure, then I would say go for it. Take a chance on them. And
that's great. Great advice.
Before we leave, my third point is always remember that there's a really high turnover with venue coordinators. So just keep that in mind, that if you have a wedding planner, they're your wedding planner. They're your wedding planner through wedding day, and they're not going anywhere, or they hopefully shouldn't go anywhere.
That's a great point.
Your venue coordinator could take a job somewhere else. They could leave. They could get promoted and go to a different section of the hotel if it's in a hotel or something like that. So just keep that in mind, that your venue coordinator is not bound by your contract to stay there with that company. So all of those details that you're depending on her for, or that she's promised you or he's promised you, just keep all that in mind.
Right. Great point. And thank you so much for all the great advice.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
And we'll just have to have you back on the show since we went over and we have so many other things to talk about.
How far are we over?
Just 10 minutes. It's not that bad.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that bad. No, I'm just kidding. It was so much fun. No, we're over.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay. It's good. We had people on here asking questions. Yeah, it was good. This is what I want. So I'm okay with that. It's perfect.
Yep. I'm glad we had some
information. Yes, thanks so much, Adrienne, for tuning in. It was great to have you on. So
that's awesome.
So again, thank you, brides, for tuning in, and we are on again next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Next Thursday, we're gonna have a bride on the show talking about, she's gonna provide some tips of her own. She's newly married, and again, as usual, if you really enjoyed this show, you found it really, really helpful, share it with your girlfriends. Post it on your social media, and as always, follow us on social media check out planoftheday.com if you like what you see and what you're hearing and you have found this helpful. So thanks again, Tara. Appreciate your time. And we'll have you back on.
All right. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.